Right, here we go. Hi, Kat. Welcome to the Meetup Spot.
Hey Nigel, how are you?
I'm doing good. So it's sunny out there.
Not today.
Snowing, raining.
Overcast.
Oh, so yeah, so it's raining.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Okay, all right. So here we go. Let's start with the questions. So, Kat, tell me about yourself and your growing up story.
Yeah, so I was born in North Carolina, um, in tobacco country, North Carolina. And yeah, I didn't really have that many big opportunities for music. I mean, my mom, she got me dance lessons, singing lessons, guitar lessons. My dad raised me on Broadway musicals, so he would sit me in front of the TV and I'd watch Annie, Oliver, Oklahoma, Sound of Music. And I just really loved singing. I had an affinity for music. So when I went off to college, I went to college for graphic design because I was told that that was the only art degree you can make money in. It's like the career degree in art. But I just really wanted to sing, and so my senior year of college, I joined a cover band, and wound up doing that for 7 years, and never held a job in graphic design to this day. Although I use my degree to market my music and Misfit Cabaret's music, Misfit Cabaret show, and then also I'll like pick up freelance work from now and then. But art lends itself to all different facets, right? And so then when I moved, obviously I went on The Voice. After my band broke up, I went on The Voice, and then after that, moved to San Francisco, California, and met my business partner Jordan Nathan, and she and I started Misfit Cabaret together, which is a musical variety show. It's a lot of fun. I write original music for it, but we also do a lot of covers. It's a full band, and then we have drag, burlesque, aerial, puppets, and we're based in San Francisco, but we also toured to Seattle, Portland, and Los Angeles. Yeah,
That's one heck of
tried
one
to.
heck of a growing up story. So
Tried
uh,
to.
so mu so musicals musicals like Annie and Oliver. Is there more musicals other than Annie and Oliver?
Oh, so many. I mean, yeah, I haven't kept up with like the newest ones. I think Hamilton is the most recent one I saw, or maybe like Come From Away and Waitress, but and Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, Beetlejuice. Okay, so I've seen them. I've seen a bunch, but I haven't seen Hadestown. But like so like my dad raised me on the classics, and then when I got to a certain age, I discovered more adult musicals like Cabaret and Rocky Horror Picture Show, and then Phantom of the Paradise, and that's when I really fell in love with like rock operas, cabaret rock and roll. Certainly, like I found bands like the Dresden Dolls, and from an early age, the theatricality of Broadway led me to my favorite musical artists, which are David Bowie, Queen. I'm obviously obsessed with Chapel Roan, and I love this like new romantics vibe that everybody seems to be going down. Of life is so freaking gray. I hate when musicians wear jeans on stage or just like civilian clothing. I hate that. And listen, and if it were 8 o'clock at night, I would be fully decked out in drag right now, but it's 10 a.m. So I did wash my face, but
Ah, okay.
anyway.
Oh, you look beautiful though.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
And why you're not and why are you not a fan of wearing jeans though?
I think that you should elevate yourself on stage. I think that you should be glamorous to look at. I don't think I mean, if you're just listening to music, if you're at home listening to music, I think it's unavoidable that that music is going to create visions in your head. It's just like when you're reading a book, you're envisioning the characters as you're reading them. It's playing out in your mind. But when you go to see a live show, you're also watching the performers do their thing. And I think that it's just the performers should be really magical to look at. I've never worn jeans on stage. I've always, like, from the time that I was in my cover band, um, I just wore fun clothing, and I just don't. It's like, don't go to a job interview in jeans. And essentially, when people come to see you, especially if they've never seen you before, you're interviewing for fans.
Oh, nice,
So yeah.
nice. And those musicals you mentioned, Cabaret, those Dress and Dolls, yeah, yeah, they inspire your musicals, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I have helped write musicals, like full-fledged
Oh,
musicals with who's now my writing partner, Polly Amberos, amazing dragon and theatrical artist in the Bay Area. But Misfit Cabaret is more of a musical variety show rock opera in which we do a lot of cover music, but I'm writing essentially pop and rock songs to fit the theme of the evening. Um, and the reason that I said, okay, when Misfit Cabaret started, I said, I this can't just be cover music because I will get so complacent, especially if the show is a success and we're making money and it's keeping me busy and like feeding all of these creative outlets for me. I'm going to get complacent and I'm going to stop writing music. So I set the parameter for myself very early on in Misfit Cabaret, where I was like, I'm going to write two original songs for each new show, so that I won't get lazy and stop writing original music, because this is such a part of me as an artist. I had written 3 albums previously before Misfit Cabaret, and it's a good challenge. It's hard. I don't always enjoy writing music, but it's like it comes to me anyway. I'll be driving in the car and I'll get an idea for a song and I'll sing it into my phone so that I don't, forget it. Um, but but yeah, and then as Misfit Cabaret has progressed, because we're 10 years old now, we do repeat shows. We'll bring back really popular shows, and every time we do, I'll write another song or two. So there are songs that Misfit Cabaret, or there are shows that Misfit Cabaret has been doing for many years now, that now each show has like five original songs that I've written. We have a Christmas show where I think I've written 8 original songs, more than that, 10, I don't even know. But it's just like, yeah, you just keep adding on to it. And I don't, and I can't predict what's going to happen. But like with Circus, which we're doing March 7th in San Francisco and then March 12th to the 14th in Seattle, a majority of that show now is original music. And I really love it. And I wrote those songs specifically for our variety performers to perform to. I have a song called Tick Tick that is about, bending over backwards to make some undeserving person in your life happy. And that song is performed with a contortionist.
cool.
I've got a song that I just wrote called The Clown that's going to be performed with somebody like a burlesque clown, a juggling clown, like that kind of thing. Yeah, it's fun. And what I love about writing music for Misfit Cabaret is that it kind of spurs ideas along. I'm not just sitting going, okay, well, I want to, not that there's anything wrong with this, but I'm not just sitting going, okay, something in my life has happened, I want to write about it. It's more like, I have to write a song for this specific theme to fit in this show. How do I make that work with what's going on in my life? How do I make that relatable to myself? So
That's nice. Okay, Kat, why do you do what you do?
I don't know how to do anything else.
Oh, okay, that's oh that's
I think about that all the time. You know, I went into so I went to school for graphic design because I wanted to go into school for acting and music, and I went to you know when you're audition or like not auditioning, but when you're applying to colleges, um, you're what 16, 17, very impressionable age, and when an adult tells you this is the way it's going to be, you're more prone to listen to them as opposed to being in your 30s or 40s when you've had time to figure out who you are and go, no, I'm going to do this because this is what I want to do. Um, but I remember going to meet with the dean of UNCG, that has a very prestigious acting department, acting school. And he sat down with my mom and I and he said, if you can imagine yourself doing anything else, do it, because the success rate for acting is like 1%. And I sat in that meeting and went, okay, I guess I'll go into graphic design. I guess I won't even try. Nah. And I did, so I went to school for graphic design and I graduated with a degree in that and didn't even hold a job in it because I ended up in a band. And I think about that, and I also think about Jim Carrey giving this famous speech talking about how his father always wanted to be a musician, but he didn't want to, risk being poor and not being able to provide for his family. So he got a job at Sears, and then Jim Carrey learned at a very early age that even though his dad like got this secure job, he still lost the job and his family lived out of a car. So at that early age, Jim Carrey was like, what a waste to choose the path of security and lose it anyway. Life is so short. Do what you want to do. Find a way to do it that it's sustainable. I'm still looking, but do it. I just don't think that when I say I don't know how to do anything else, it's because like this is what is inside of me. I even tried getting a job in something else and music still found me. It's undeniable. So, yeah.
oh that's that's an interesting thing to say. Uh, what what kind of mindset did you have when you first started?
Um it's tough to yeah, you asked me that last night and I was thinking about that. What kind of mindset did I have when I started? I was 20, maybe 21 when I became a professional musician, when clubs started paying me. Um, I had a really toxic mentor
Oh,
that manipulated and lied to me and kept me under their thumb because they didn't want to lose me. And they straight up lied to me in order to and took really amazing opportunities away from me. Um, and I think that I was very influenced by them, and kind of got this mentality of it was weird. It was like you're going to be so fucking famous, but not without me, you know. And it wasn't until years later when I was like, I finally see through you. Oh my God, you're so full of that I got away from them and immediately got the opportunity to audition for The Voice. And so it's like I kind of think that in some ways starting out in the industry, it's tough. There's no, it's like there's no real safety net or safeguard. People, very, very successful people, get screwed over all the time. Bad advice, bad judgment, and being told, hey, this person is a really good person, you should listen to them. And then they end up not being a good person. This has taken a very negative turn, and I deeply apologize.
That's okay.
Um,
That's okay.
but I mean, I'm fine now. But like, I think starting out, I I just I never knew that I could sing professionally. I didn't grow up with, I mean, even though my parents were very supportive and they provided lessons for me, because they didn't want to, deprive me of anything that I was interested in. I didn't have like American Idol parents who told me, you're going to be famous, you're going to be amazing. I had the kind of parents that were like, okay, that's awesome for you, but we also want to make sure that you are independent and you can afford to live independently and on your own. So please go to college and get a degree in something that'll pay you, like graphic design. So I think they were being very responsible in that sense. But I don't know. It's just so weird. It was kind of like the first person that comes along and tells you you're amazing and you're going to be famous, whatever. You just kind of want to run with them and believe them. So I don't know. I saw that question and I really struggled because I can't remember who I was or what I was thinking when I was 2021. I just know where I was at and who I was surrounded by and what my environment was. So, and I think about that also because I was 30 years old when I went on The Voice, and there were a lot of contestants that were in their late teens, early 20s that were on The Voice that had never performed in a band, never toured, and this was their first look into the industry. Like, multi-million dollar show with very famous people, and you are on a show that you're being watched by 15 million people. And I kind of wanted to pull them aside and say, hey, this is not normal. Like, I don't think that you should take this as your basis for what success is and what your career is going to look like. I think it's definitely can be a part of it, a component at some point, and that's what we strive for, some of us. But I just want to let you know that like this is not normal, and you need to find kind of like a grounding environment or situation. But then they wouldn't have listened to me anyway because they're 16, 17 years old.
Okay. And so instead of being famous on The Voice, where should they go instead?
Oh, I mean, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have gone on The Voice.
Okay.
And certainly, like, The Voice is not a career, you know? It's over when it's over, when you're eliminated or when you win. It's not like a continuous thing. It's just like part of the journey. What I was saying is, um, I was trying to kind of give. I think it's weird for a 16-year-old who's never been in a band, never toured, never done anything beyond like sing in their house, and then their mom drove them to the audition. Uh, I just think it's an extremely weird way to start. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just very different, and it's not a basis for normal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Like
That's
even like for instance, I when I was eliminated from the while I was on The Voice, I got connected to Amanda Palmer, who, is in the Dresden Dolls. I have been a fan of hers for years, and when you're on The Voice, they're constantly asking you who your influences are. So I had said, Amanda, our fans connected us, and when I was eliminated, the show flew me to New York to be on the Today Show, and Amanda just happened to be doing a show at the town hall, which is a 1,500 seat, 2,000 seat theater. And she was there doing like a tour with her husband at the time, Neil Gaiman, and she invited me to come and sing with her on stage, which, that's really incredible. But I'm sitting on that stage and I'm making jokes about how when you're on The Voice, because I had just like moved my mic stand to where I wanted it to be on stage, and I was making a joke about how there are people on The Voice that will move your mic stand for you, you know? And my experience, the 7 years that I was in my band before I went on The Voice, I was lugging really heavy PA up flights of stairs to play weddings and stuff. I was running my own XLR cables and just getting sweaty doing this crazy front work just to play for a couple hours and get a nice meal. So what that's what I'm saying is like I I had heard that a lot of because I did a lot of interviews before and after and during while I was on The Voice, and a lot of people that interviewed me after The Voice were all impressed that I was still doing music. Sorry, I'm taking a very long time to explain myself. They were really impressed that I was still doing music because they said the percentage of performers, the percentage of singers that continue to have a career in music after The Voice is very low. The percentage is very, very low. I was like, well, I was doing this before The Voice. I've been a professional musician for 7, 8 years up until this point. So naturally, I'm going to continue to do this because this is my career, as opposed to a lot of these musicians that this is their first time singing in a professional setting, and then they get off The Voice and don't really know what to do, don't really know how to put the pieces together, how to tour, how to do this, how to do that. Not to say that they won't figure it out, but you know, it's tough going from being on The Voice to that level where you are really treated like a celebrity, and everything is handled for you, and you're on a television show with 15 million people watching, to all of a sudden going and not being able to sell out a bar. It's a rude awakening. So, you know.
Ah, okay. And okay, Kat, what does it mean to be confined in a southern 90s suburbia stasis?
You mean growing up?
Um, yeah, because I got I got that from your bio.
Um, well, I think if I had grown up in a major metropolitan city that had a huge art culture, you know, a really big art community, tons of theaters, tons of music venues, I think that that would have provided a lot of outlets for me to pursue my passion and my career. But my high school didn't even have a drama department. It was defunded so that
Oh,
more money could go into sports. So I think I did one community play, um, but there wasn't really anything in high school for me. And then when I got to college, I didn't have time to do any theater tryout for anything like that because um, the School of Design at NC State, you were in studio for 13 hours a day. There was just zero time. So it really wasn't until my senior year of college that I had any time or luxury to start pursuing music. And that came from me, waiting tables while I was in college to pay for
okay.
yeah. But I worked at a sushi restaurant called Sushi Blues that had blues musicians come in at night.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, and I was like the annoying, ingenue waitress that would be like, "I sing. Can I come sing with you guys?" And they tolerated me until one night they're like, "You really should join your own band. You really should just like please leave us alone. Go audition for another band. So I looked at oh God, what is it? I don't even remember. It's like Craigslist, but it's specific to Raleigh and musicians. I think Raleigh music, I don't know, whatever. I answered an ad. Um, the first ad I answered, I was really excited because I was going to be playing rock and roll music with these old fogies. But one of the guys, he had been um, he was a recovering alcoholic, and apparently just like having the one jam session um, sent him right back. And so he was like, okay, sorry, I can't do this actually. So the second band that I auditioned for was the one that I ended up in for 7 years. Fortunately and unfortunately. There were a lot of really good things about it. One of my best friends was our keyboardist for a while. And some not so great things, you know. But that's life.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Is it okay? Is it okay? Okay, I think you found Jordan a speakeasy you were hired at, where she worked, and her uncle owned. How did you meet the other people, such as burlesque performers, drag artists, aerialists, puppeteers, and singers like Brendan, and people who worked behind the scenes that ended up helping you do your show?
Going out, going out and seeing shows, going out and seeing drag shows, and you know, looking them up, like finding them on Instagram afterward and saying, "Hey, I thought you were amazing. I would absolutely love it if you would come and be in my show," and then figuring out like how much was acceptable to pay them, what the what the standard was. I remember one person. I asked one person. I was like, "Hey, will you come and do my show for this amount of money?" And they're like, "No, thanks." I was like, "Okay, well, how much would you do it for?" you know, and I was like, "I just don't know." But yeah, going and seeing shows. That was one of the best pieces of advice my friend Curtis Kieber gave me. He and I used to be. He was in my first band with me, and then he moved to LA to become a session musician. He's a bassist, and he now is the bassist for Grace Potter and the Nocturnals, which is really cool. But the advice that he gave me was you have to, it's so important for you as a musician, as an entertainer, you have to go out and network. You have to go and see other shows. You know, you have to be seen. And it really is like going to other people's shows, going and seeing your peers do their thing. It really is like an act of camaraderie, but you know, it's just a way to make connections, and in a way that you can't do by just sitting at home and talking to people online. You have to go out. You have to go see shows.
Uh, uh, dang. That's an interesting thing to do. That's a really cool thing to do. Going around, going to find going to
It's
shows like
fun.
that. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's fun. you know.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Of a variety show within a rock musical. What's the vision behind your Misfit Cabaret shows? I mean, I know the inspirations, but knowing about your shows and the shows, there are times where there's times for drag, burlesque, aerialists, and singing too. So what's the vision behind them?
Well, these are all things that I really love. Like drag is such a cool art form because you're telling a story in 3 to 5 minutes, you know? Like a complete story, if you're an avant-garde drag artist, or you're just walking around singing a song and taking people's money. I've done both. But I just think such a it's such a cool way to edit yourself and like get to the point. And I take so much inspiration from that, but also their looks. They're walking art forms. They're a walking painting. It's just incredible. I just think it's such a cool art form. And then burlesque is the same way. And all of these physical performances, you are you have 3 to 5 minutes to win somebody over with your act. And I think so many musicians that are not in the drag burlesque scene should and go to these shows, to learn how to be a better showman, to learn how to get up on stage and just be charismatic and grab as many people. Like, we as musicians are storytellers. Every time we sing a song, we're telling a story. And you have to sell that story in some way, shape, or form. This goes back to me saying, don't wear jeans on stage. Unless you're a country singer, then I'm not going to be at your show anyway. So do what you want. But but you're a storyteller. You have to mesmerize people. You have to engage them. Um, as far as like Misfit Cabaret, it came from, you know, you're you're going out to see a show, a local show with three bands, right, on any given night. And there's this horrible period in between bands where they're changing over and changing the sound and changing instruments, whatever, that's so boring. And you, as the person, maybe it's like a Tuesday or Wednesday night, you start to think to yourself, I could just go home. I could just go home and watch Netflix. This is boring. You're losing their interest. So I had seen what the Dresden Dolls had done, where they would have vaudevillian circus acts perform, in between band changeover, to hold people's attention and to add to the atmosphere. So I started doing that in my shows. When I was playing out, with other bands, we would have, a drag or burlesque artist come and perform while they're changing over to keep people's attention. And so then I thought that would just be so great to to turn this into the whole thing. And so, like, the first Misfit Cabaret, we Jordan and I didn't have all the answers when we first started out. The show has definitely evolved since then. But like the first one was like, let's just do a bunch of Broadway songs at the beginning. Let's just do this big Broadway medley at the beginning. And then we'll have a burlesque act, and then we'll have a circus act. And I had been to see variety shows as well and thought that they were just really great. And it's just a way to keep people engaged and to say, okay, well, if you didn't like this artist or this act that you just saw, you'll probably like the next one. So, you're just trying to appeal to everybody and it's just this constant, evolvement of entertainment. It's not ever one thing. And it's really cool to see what weird ideas and things we can accomplish when we work within these parameters of, this is what this show is, this is what we usually do, this is what we can do within this confinement of time and budget, and this is what people really responded to over the years. So,
Okay. So it's basically like Cirque du Soleil for you?
no, I don't think
Oh,
we're like Cirque du Soleil at all.
oh, okay, okay. Okay. So I think one last question, because I think because before I press record, you said you were in a hurry, you're going to be somewhere. So one last question, and then we're gonna head to last segment. So you do dance parties at the end of your shows. That sounds like fun. What's that like?
So yeah, so we do a curtain call where we have all of the performers come out on stage, and then we do one last song where we invite the audience to get up on stage and dance with us. And it's just to further,
What?
yeah, and it's just a way to blur the lines between the audience and the performers on stage, because essentially we're all there experiencing this together, and the show wouldn't be what it is without our audience and the contribution that they have by physically being there, by paying for a ticket so that we can afford to do this, by dressing up, because all of our audience members dress up with the theme of the evening, and they laugh and they applaud, and we share this like symbiotic energy together that is just so amazing. And I just went and saw Paranormal Activity, the play, And my favorite thing was, in addition to how amazing the stage setup was in the performance, was experiencing the show with the audience. And after every big scare, this big partition would go down, and we're just sitting in darkness. And we would just turn to each other and just laugh and scream and express excitement over what we just saw on stage. And that's just something that you can't get by staying home and watching Netflix. The audience makes the show. There's no, there's, if the audience isn't there, it's just a rehearsal, and the energy is completely different, you know? So, yeah. Final question.
Okay. Again, this is just awesome. This is just great. But and I really hope and I really hope we get to do this again someday because there's a lot more questions. But
Sure.
you're in a hurry. So let's head to one last segment called Quick Fire. You answer questions quickly in under 90 seconds. Are you ready? Are you ready for
Yep.
that? Because I'm gonna
Yep.
press a timer. Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go. David Tennant or Jodie Whittaker?
David Tennant.
Oh, still. Okay. One word to describe yourself.
Weird.
What is your best music tip?
Um, rehearse, 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 rehearse.
Nice. One everyday item you can't leave without.
My phone.
Okay. Mantra in life.
Um, practice empathy.
Best place in the Bay Area for a good meal.
I'm gonna say Bordeaux in Oakland because Oakland has the best food in the Bay.
Nice. Best place in California to go road tripping or travel.
I'm going to say, head down, head down, head down south. Go to the Madonna Inn at St. Luis Obispo and go to a bunch of wineries in Paso Robles.
As a cinephile, what's your favorite movie?
Probably Some Like It Hot, Billy Wilder.
One song that uplifts you.
That uplifts me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't know. Well, I mean, like my favorite song of all time is "Lady Grinning Soul" from David Bowie. So
Mhm.
I don't think
Your
it's
biggest ins
uplifting, but
okay.
okay, sorry.
Your biggest inspiration in music.
David Bowie.
That's awesome. So I guess that's it for the quick fire. Let's do a screenshot. Here we go. All right, that's it. That's good. Any last thoughts or comments?
No, thank you so much for having me. This was delightful.
All right, thanks. And how can we find you?
At catrobichaud.com, katrobichaud.com, or phonetically, katrobeeshow.com. Yep.
All right, that's nice. Again, Kat, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a lovely day.
Thank, thank you, Kat. All right, bye.